Hell yeah, let's get Stinko.
A strong game for the Canucks. Brock Besser's debut produces his first career goal. Reed Boucher scored a couple. And the Canucks are all smiles after a 4-2 win here in Minnesota.
Bill Hodgson was looking for his fourth assist. 90 still has it. Oshie fires, he scores! Top shelf TJ! Washington 5-4.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end.
Now here's Fiala on a loose puck.
Fiala in front, he scores! Yes, sir!
That stands the end. No safety nor surprise, the end. I'll never look into your eyes again.
Welcome, Giles and the Goalies Podcast, episode 97. I am Giles Farrell. Across the table from me is Ben Remington.
Hello.
And we are at Tin Whiskers Brewing Company in lovely St. Paul, Minnesota. And if you're wondering why we have said where we're located, it's because we finally got somebody to sponsor this podcast.
Free beer!
It is nice. It's a nice day, sort of, to walk through St. Paul. So if you're ever check out a Wild game, come on down to Tin Whiskers. We'll kind of dive more into that later. Mm-hmm. But I took the walk past the arena all the way down here. Wasn't too terrible if you enjoy a walk, especially as it gets to springtime.
Right.
So, but yeah, thank you to them for hosting us this week. Ben, did you enjoy your week in Sacramento?
Define enjoy. No, it was actually a pretty rough week work-wise. I worked, I was there for about 3.5 days, give or take, and I think I worked about 60 hours in those 3.5 days. So, yeah, it was one of those kind of work weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds not fun.
No, it wasn't.
So no fun Sacramento stories?
No, well, actually, kind of one. I watched the Wild game on Thursday. I actually got off a little bit early enough because I have to start watching Wild games at 5 p.m. out there. Yeah, West Coast time is a ton of fun. Yeah, so I watched that game and then I go down to the hotel bar because I need something to eat, and that's the only place to eat in the building. I didn't feel like leaving the building because, like I said, I'd worked a lot of hours, so went down there and sat at the bar. There's the A's Giants game on, spring training game on one TV, and the other TV is Oilers and Sharks. I'm like, all right, cool, not bad. I'll hammer down this meatball sandwich, and then the two strangers on either side of me decided that they wanted to chat and talk about nonsense. And I'm not that type of guy. So that was, I wouldn't say that was fun, but that was my excitement for the weekend, or for the week, was trying to avoid two bar strangers that wanted nothing more in life than to have a conversation with me at a bar.
Yeah, when you're a barfly like me, you get used to it. So.
I bet. I learned my lesson, though. I'm just going to sit at a table from now on. No more sitting at the bar.
Yeah. I enjoy the bar. That's also because I'm friends with most of the bartenders in the greater Twin Cities area.
That's just it. And the bartender was cool. Like, he was a cool enough guy, and I, bullshit with him just a little bit, but I didn't bother wanting to have a conversation with the two talkative folks on either side of me.
All right. We got a lot to cover here.
Yeah, a little bit.
We last recorded Friday evening.
Yeah.
Due to our busy travel schedules. So we have 5 games to hit on. We're recording before the Wild Avalanche game on Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Since we are here at Tin Whiskers, as they close. I think they close at like 8 o'clock, I believe.
Sure.
So we had to sneak it in early. No complaints, obviously.
Sure.
But we got a lot to cover here. First of which was Saturday afternoon, last Saturday, way long ago, if you can remember that. Afternoon matinee at home for the Wild between them and the Vancouver Canucks. And after a scoreless first period, Vancouver got 4 goals in the second period, I believe. And they just coasted from there on out. The Wild never had an answer, and they won 4-0, and kind of an embarrassing home loss.
Yeah, what do you do? Like with the games like that? Unfortunately that's been all too common lately. Is these kind of zero effort games? Or not zero effort, but it's just games where
sloppy.
Yeah, where it's sloppy, it's rough. It's just bad. Like that game was just all around bad.
I was road tripping to Detroit for Sunday's game. So we stopped in suburban Chicago at a Blackhawks bar, and they were fortunate enough to have the game on. And we got lunch during the first period, and then we were like, yeah, we'll stay for the game, see how it goes. Second period rolls around, and we all kind of looked at each other, and we want to stay for the third? Hell no.
No,
so
you guys got places
we
to be.
took off.
Yeah,
it was a cool bar, but I had no desire to see the third period.
Right.
Then on the car ride, I was watching the Gophers game. So to add more suffering to my Saturday afternoon, the Gophers took a nosedive and lost in the NCAA tournament. So it was a lovely Saturday of sitting in a car and being in misery.
Yeah, and then you end up going to Detroit, so it's not like your day got markedly better. That Saturday game was just, the most disappointing part about it was that they had such a non-competitive game on Thursday against the Flyers that you would hope that there was some bounce back there. You would hope that there was some motivation there to play better. It was a sloppy game. I guess you can say what you want about the effort level. Maybe the effort level was there, but it was a sloppy game. It was just very poorly played on their part, and that's what led to a lot of the stuff. The goals that were scored were just kind of those egregious defensive breakdowns that we've become unfortunately familiar with, and nothing. Dubnyk wasn't at the top of his game, obviously, but
Kemper.
Well, that was Kemper, yeah.
Kemper was Saturday.
Well, it kind of both games were the same.
In what was probably his final start at a Minnesota Wild
no
sweater.
Kidding. But he actually looked good early, and then the wheels came off, and then there were some goals that he could have had, and then some other goals that he really could have done nothing about, and it's just kind of been par for the course for this team since the beginning of March.
So you put that one in the rearview mirror, and you got to quickly turn around again for another matinee game on Sunday against the Detroit Red Wings. And Wild got out 1-0 lead, Eric Stahl goal.
Yeah.
Nice. And then just your plain Jane shot from the blue line from Mike Green that just goes right through Devin Dubnyk, and
he never saw a lick of it, so it was
still bad.
Yeah.
And then they traded goals again, and then that set up the overtime winner from Athanasiou. So the Wild got a point, but you needed to get a win there, and they did not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember just certain things of that game.
Well, and that game was better, but still not that good. So
no,
I don't know. What were your thoughts on the Joe? How was that?
Well, you walk. There's only 2 entrances. So
really?
Yeah,
there's 2?
And they look exactly the same.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
You can't tell them apart. But no, we walk in, and I tweeted this. I couldn't get my phone out quick enough to tweet this, but you walked in, and it literally smelled like the Metrodome in there. Which, you ever been in the Metrodome? You know what that smells like. So I'm full of nostalgia. And then I don't know. There was one concourse. I didn't dare go down there during an intermission. We got there right away. Loaded up on alcohol.
Sure.
Oh, speaking of Detroit, comes this guy. Oh, now he doesn't want to be on. He teases me all the time about being on, then he doesn't want to be on. Yeah. Also, fun fact, he tortured me by making me listen to the latest podcast on the way there. I tried to drown it out in my own headphones. Couldn't do it. But anyway, no, that was my friend Graeme who walked up. He drove most of the way and then proceeded to give me crap for never driving.
Those are the best kinds of friends.
No, it was cool to be at the Joe, but it's somewhere you go once and you don't need to go again.
Right.
The fans were really great. They were really, I don't know, they were fun to banter with.
Sure.
Like, they kind of accepted that their team was crap and their playoff run was ending.
Yeah.
And they were all very hopeful that Minnesota defeats Chicago in the playoffs because they all still have a raging hate for them.
Of course.
And the Avalanche. So we all bonded over that. I also have a photo with a guy. We were watching the overtime together. I can't remember his name to save my life anymore because of obvious reasons. But it's there. I have a selfie with him.
Sure.
We were both 3 sheets to the wind by overtime.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's a building, along the same lines as you. I wish I would have been able to make it to. But yeah, it's.
And we did take a stroll down to the new arena.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't really see much because they got it pretty well taped off, but it should be a lot better than what the Joe was.
Yeah, that's it's going to be one of those fancy new arenas that is like a mecca of hockey without being without the history, obviously. But
I think that's it. All I got for Detroit. Like, we were there for 36 hours and we saw what we really needed to see.
Did you see any wild animals roaming the streets or anything like that?
No.
Any
really.
crimes? Did you witness any crimes?
No.
Did you see RoboCop?
No.
Oh, that's all disappointing.
No. It got really exciting when we walked over to the river to get a look at Canada, but it was so foggy we could barely see Canada.
Did you just yell across the shore, how many cups have you won since 1993?
Yeah, the Stanley Cup is a myth to Canada now.
They can only see Stanley Cups through the fog. Fantastic. Yeah, then Tuesday they play your squad.
I wound up with my squad. I wound up with some tickets to the game thanks to our pal Tom Schreier, who got me pretty close to the Capitals bench. And what we later found out, the Wild had a strategy for the Washington power play to not let Alex Ovechkin score. It worked so well, Alex Ovechkin only scored 3 power play goals in that game.
So I didn't actually get to see this game because it was one of those days where I was working 17 hours on the West Coast. Was it the classic one-timers from the face-off dot kind of thing, or were they a little more dirty than that?
Well, the first 2 were.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And they were. Well, and I wrote about this Wednesday on zone coverage. You can see that, there was somebody who was clearly supposed to be taking Ovechkin on just one-on-one.
So they kind of listened to me.
And I don't know if they just got confused or they just kind of forgot what they were supposed to be doing, but of course you get defensive breakdowns and he's left open, and when you've got Backstrom and Johansson feeding him beautiful one-timer passes, that's going to burn you. Yeah,
that strategy of just putting a guy man up on Ovechkin only really works if you actually put a guy man up on Ovechkin. You can't do that one half-assed. I feel like that's kind of defeats the purpose.
And then the third goal was pretty garbage. Dubnyk should have stopped that.
And then
credit to them, they got a point out of it.
Yeah, I saw that Stahl scored late in that one.
Yep, Stahl. It was a questionable offsides call, and it was close. I'll give them that. But it was kept onside by Koivu, and then Stahl tied it up. And then you're thinking, hey, maybe this is when they put it together.
This
and
is
they
the
go.
turnaround.
And then I think the Wild had one adequate chance in overtime, and then Washington controlled the puck for however much of the overtime and eventually won it.
Sure.
On another, what I thought was a stoppable puck.
Yeah, TJ Oshie too. The one of us. The one of us continues.
You say words?
I speak.
Arms wide open.
You mean with arms wide?
Temba.
With arms wide.
Yes.
Are you guys speaking in code or something right now? I don't understand.
That's Star Trek.
Oh.
Yeah. No, if you...
So yes, is what you're saying.
Nobody can tell, but that is my friend Graeme who is speaking into the microphone.
I'm whatting into the microphone?
Speaking.
Yes.
Sort of. Driver of 20 out of 22 hours of the Detroit road trip.
Correct again.
I drove 0.
That is correct.
I got plenty of crap for it.
Did you nap in the back seat or something, or
Mouth wide open.
Oh, okay. Even better.
No drool noticed.
Well,
That you saw.
The drool's all dried up from the alcohol. That's what does that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The sake dried him out.
So Thursday.
Wednesday. Big
Or,
news,
yeah, Wednesday.
Big
Yep, you're
news
right.
Wednesday.
You're
We
right.
got to hit on this.
Yeah.
After our many, many podcasts where we violently said no, never, ever, Alex Stalock was recalled.
Predicted by Giles. Mere hours before the call-up.
Yeah, we discussed it on the car ride on Monday.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the Hashtag Hockey podcast, which we both appeared on Thursday night.
I forgot we guest spotted on.
Yeah, which came out on Friday, so check that out. It was a lot of fun. It was over Skype, so Giles and I's chemistry was even worse than it usually is, but
we don't Skype anymore.
Right, exactly. So it was, I don't know, it was kind of a there's nothing left to lose kind of situation for them to call up Stalock. It was kind of well, let's just throw this against the wall and see if it sticks kind of situation, because the goaltending, as you noted in your article on Thursday, was so bad, so abysmal in the month of March that they really didn't have anything else they could try at this point. I mean, you've thrown Dubnyk out there many times. You've tried to get Kemper to redeem himself many times. Nothing was working. So you give Alex Stalock a shot, and he starts on Thursday at home.
He did okay.
He did. I don't think he was tested,
No.
like
the Wild remembered
super
suddenly
hard.
how to play shutdown defense.
That was
incredible.
Incredible defensive game. It was 19 shots or something like that?
That's all he faced, 19 shots.
And there was a few decent scoring chances, and I'm not going to say he didn't make some good saves. He did. But
He did in the second game.
yeah. But it wasn't, it's not like he was really worn out too hard. So I don't know, but the game Thursday was what it was, and they played a good game for once. I don't know if it was the Stalock call-up or...
It's 5-1. We didn't put that in the intro because it didn't go with the theme of our intro.
That's true.
But they did win a game this week, 5-1 over Ottawa. And Ottawa on pace to be a playoff team,
Right.
I believe.
Yes.
Out in the East.
They're second in the Atlantic, aren't they?
I think they got
Bumped, or they third
They got
now?
jumped. They got bumped, yes.
By the Leafs?
They're in the second
Words
wild
are
card
tough.
spot now.
Oh, second, okay, yeah. But unless Tampa goes on a hellacious run and they drop the ball, they're fine.
They're 5 points up. On
Yeah, they should be fine.
See, now we have a statistician.
Which is good. We've always needed somebody to make sure. We say a lot of wrong things on this podcast, as I'm sure you know.
Well, he lets
I'll
me
try
know.
and help.
Yeah. He can be our Tona Reale. We'll just rely on him to correct us.
I was fairly optimistic after Thursday's game. They looked a lot like the team that won 40 some odd games.
Right.
Not the team that had lost just about every game in March. But they so kindly follow that up with another dud on Saturday. After 10 minutes of, hey, they look good, but didn't score, I'm not going to say they phoned it in for the rest of the game, but they were just very sloppy with the puck for the remaining 50 minutes of the hockey game.
Is there any question that game would have been 1-0 Ottawa if it wasn't Alex Stalock in net on that opening save?
No questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Twice this week, he's texted me, Alex Stalock, Game 1 starter.
Ask me after 2 games.
Yeah. So, and we mentioned that on the Hashtag Hockey podcast that they're kind of hoping to catch lightning in the bottle a little bit. I don't think they're counting on Alex Stalock to start the playoffs for him. They're really not counting on that, nor should they. But they're, at this point, give it a shot. Maybe he has a good run down the stretch here, and maybe you think about it. But I think at the end of the day, Dubnyk's still the Game 1 starter, unless he puts up 2 just horrific games this week.
We're going to see what he has this afternoon.
Right.
After a nice 4 days? 3 days. Some kind of long rest. He's never gotten this. He's never gotten this amount of rest.
Tuesday,
ever.
so 4 days.
He last got this amount of rest when he was with Arizona.
That's a good point.
In the desert.
Yeah.
With Coyotes legend Pavel Datsyuk.
Signed pucks.
Yeah, did you see that? They're auctioning off signed pucks. The Coyotes
from Pavel Datsyuk. That's amazing.
$150.
Are they giving away Chris Pronger signed pucks too?
With Chris Pronger.
2 players who have never suited up for that team one time. I don't think have those 2 ever even been in the state of Arizona as a member of that hockey team?
Probably not.
As a visitor, of course, but have they ever even
on roster? No.
Yeah, have they ever been in the locker room or the front office? I don't think so.
Have they even stitched a jersey for either of them?
I hope not. That would be a waste of time. I'm sure there's some smartass that's done it on NHL.com.
A fan has done it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be that's good stuff though.
Because I know you would if they trade dead contracts here.
This is perfect. He's here because we have so much jersey content to cover.
Sure.
And he has about 1,500 jerseys.
Okay.
96.
That's all.
Who's counting?
All right.
Yeah, that wraps up our coverage of this last. I don't know if you have anything more to add about Nashville, but
no,
I thought the Wild were just so insanely sloppy with a puck. They couldn't hit a simple breakout pass. They, as Russo has mentioned a zillion times in the last month, they can't put a one-timer pass in the right spot to save their life.
Yeah, I did see that. I was following along on Twitter, but unfortunately, I was at a funeral, so I wasn't able to see any of that game.
I was going to make a joke there about being at the Wild's funeral, but I passed on that.
Well, kind of accurate.
Okay. Quick rundown of the week ahead. As I said, we're recording here on Sunday afternoon. The Wild in an hour play Colorado. And then they wrap up their home schedule of the regular season Tuesday against Carolina.
Yep.
And then they hit the road for the last 2 games. They play Colorado Thursday and then Arizona with legend Pavel Datsyuk on Saturday. And that closes out the regular season. I believe as we record, the Wild are still 7 points up on St. Louis for third in the division, so a point even would just about wrap up home ice next week in the playoffs. I mentioned this after yesterday's game that you've got 4 pretty easy games, so there's still good time to right the ship, figure out your lines, your goalie, whatever. You can do a lot this week still.
Yeah.
Not a lot of need to panic yet, but if they continue to lose, then yes, let's all panic.
Well, and panic can only get you so far, and that's why even if I felt like from the start of the March slump, people were starting to freak out, and then I was making fun of said people for freaking out.
How's that working out for you?
Which is something that I'm known to do. But even still, it's just like I just don't see the value in freaking out. Sure, the playoffs start a new season, and I can make that argument that this is going to be a different team in the playoffs. I don't know that. There's no guarantee to that whatsoever. And it might be more likely that they're the same team in the playoffs. But is what it is, and what are we supposed to do at this point? Like, it's not, the playoff series is going to be, I think, hard fought either way. Even if they don't play well, I think it's still going to be a relatively long series because the Blues aren't really anything all that special anyway if that's who they end up playing. So, I don't know. I think that this team needs the separation between the regular season and the playoffs to kind of reset them. I know I said that last season as well, and that worked out exactly the same, but that was also before Zach Parese's appendix burst. So, it's tough to say. It's tough to say whether there's reason to freak out or whether there's any value in freaking out, because if they don't play well over these next 4 games, there is going to be a lot of people freaking out. And understandably, but I just don't know if it makes much of a difference as far as the actual playoff series goes.
But what we got to freak out about is how Martin Hanzal has destroyed the team's chemistry. That's what we got to. That's what we got to.
Which was my article on Friday, and
nuts about.
I don't mean to go after certain people, but there's some takes where, and that's a take where
that's a lazy take.
It is a lazy take. It's a lazy take. Like it's, and again, I even said in the article, maybe you're right. Maybe in some weird, backwards way, he ruined the chemistry in that locker room somehow. I don't know. And maybe he's to blame for this losing streak. But I really, really, really doubt it. I really doubt it.
His 10 points since arriving here tends to disagree with that.
Yeah, and so it's just like, it's just a lazy take to say that he ruined the chemistry of the locker room. And I'm not discounting chemistry. I think it is a thing. I think that was the problem with this team last season, because Mike Yeo couldn't control the locker room, and the veterans basically ran roughshod over him, and it became kind of a caustic situation. So I'm not saying that's not a thing. I'm just saying this season I don't think that's the problem.
Well, when you let the nuts run the nut house.
Right. Exactly. And something that we also forgot to mention, our boy Jules was called up.
I knew there was a second big news story of the week. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And I meant to ask you before the show, but we do these kinds of things on here.
Right. And so, I like the move and I don't like the move, because the move reeks of desperation, which at this point everything kind of reeks of desperation, so what's the difference? And you are burning a year of his ELC, so there's definitely some drawbacks to it. But I think the standpoint of Chuck Fletcher and the Wild Brass is you got to do something. And he's a good player, and he was a good player when they sent him back to Sweden, because it was a 50. I feel like it was a coin flip, him staying and him going. And they decided to stash him away because they didn't think they needed him. And now it's a desperation move, which you don't love, but maybe that's a catalyst. Maybe that's something. Maybe he has an unbelievable playoffs, and it looks like sheer brilliance in 2 months. Maybe it doesn't, and it looks like a horrible move. Who knows?
And everything was pretty positive on him coming back. I guess he got a lot bigger when he was in Sweden.
Yeah. Those Swedish steroids.
Yeah. Nice hat.
Thank you.
And he did look sharp in his first game on Thursday, and again Saturday, I thought, until Bruce decided to take a pull of the slot machine and juggle the lines again.
Yeah.
But I haven't been too disappointed with him. In fact, I've been impressed with him since coming back, jumping right in, and maybe if he's not being bogged down on a line with Stewart or White or both, he can put up some numbers, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm not counting on that, but we'll see. He scored on Thursday. It's a good sign. We liked his game before he even left. He looked like he belonged even before he left, so of course he looks like he belongs now. If there's any improvements to that, maybe it's a weird, Patrick Waugh type Conn Smythe situation where a guy who's still rookie eligible just tears it up in the playoffs.
Hopefully. That's my hope. All right. So like I said earlier in the show, or at the beginning of the show, I should say, we're at Tin Whiskers Brewery in downtown St. Paul.
Yep, 9th Street.
Right around the corner from Keys Cafe.
Yes.
If you're looking for landmarks. I am enjoying the Dynamo Imperial Stout right now, which is pretty delightful.
Yeah.
What are you slowly sipping away at?
I'm having the Wheatstone Bridge, which is pretty fantastic, I gotta say. I'm not... I was kind of thinking about getting the sweet stout, but I don't know. I'm kind of at that middle ground. I only really drink dark beers when it's cold, and I wasn't quite feeling it, so I went with the lighter beer.
So now that we ventured into springtime, dark beers are out the window for you.
Kind of, yeah. I'm very seasonal like that.
What about you? What did you just so quickly put away?
I quickly put away the Flip Switch IPA, and it was delicious as usual.
All right.
Outstanding.
Andy or Jeff, I believe, was the name.
Sure.
We're not able to be with us today, but obviously, hopefully, in a show or two, we'll be able to have them on. And but like I said, if you're coming down to a game, or if you're just in St. Paul in general, check out Tin Whiskers. Tell them you listen to the show to help us out. That would be great. But yeah, they got a pretty good beer selection. You can even get flights.
Sure,
I love a good flight,
of course. And they also have deals for Wild fans.
They do
have drink special for people wearing Wild memorabilia. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Apparel. I don't think you wear memorabilia.
No, that's a good point, yeah.
If it's memorabilia,
unless you made a shirt of hockey cards.
Wait a minute.
Signed hockey card shirt.
Here's a question.
Knit a sweater out of pennants.
If you're wearing a signed jersey, does that count as memorabilia?
Yes, but you should not do that in a
brewery.
Exactly.
That is...
Well, you should wear a signed jersey anyway.
That is...
Unless it's Game 6 in the playoffs and you need a win.
And you're desperate because your jersey has never lost.
Out of desperation, you can wear memorabilia.
And then you still lose.
Sure.
That was me last year.
I think what I was thinking of was paraphernalia, because that's what Doc Emmerich calls goalie equipment often.
Oh, yes.
The puck loss and the paraphernalia of Dubin.
You know, the only disappointment about the Detroit game was that I didn't get to watch it on TV because Doc Emmerich was calling.
Yes.
And I cherish every time he calls a Wild game.
So,
even though everyone else goes nuts because he says Bromlin.
So in that game, they had the goal disallowed because of goaltender interference.
Blatant.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
If you're allowing that goal, and so the home fans are going ballistic, and Emmerich had a fantastic line. He goes, and the fans responding, they see with their hearts and not with their eyes.
Yes, chanting BS.
These are the same fans who gave a standing ovation to the highlight package from 20 years ago of their brawl with the Avalanche.
Okay.
20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Hey, but that was an epic brawl. I mean, that was maybe
It was the original. It was the Mike Vernon, Patrick Waugh brawl.
Right. That brawl was... I think Puck Daddy did an article on it. It was such an epic brawl. They actually, a blogger actually memorialized a something that involved fighting, which is just this side of insane.
We all agree, that was probably the last great rivalry in the NHL.
Where it got really nasty like that? Yeah.
There will probably never be anything like that ever again.
Not really, no. It's such a different time, and players change teams so often now.
Right, and everything's all about...
And there's not nearly as much fighting, obviously.
You don't have any more grinders on your fourth line. You're putting skill.
There's no more...
Unless you're Ryan White and you're still lucking out.
Is Ryan White the next Claude Lemieux, I call him?
Oh, God. And drink.
Can we discuss why I'm really here? Keith Carney Award update.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, every year, basically since I've ever known Graeme, we always joke about Keith Carney's 2007-08 team plus-minus record. And I mentioned this
a couple episodes ago.
Some amount of episodes ago. And we love to look at this every year and see if anyone will ever come close. And this year, until the beginning of March, we had about 6 players who were going to blow that record.
Yeah, I remember that's what you cited.
I think we're down to 4.
We're gonna get a live update on where they stand now.
We're at Ryan Suter plus 33. I'd say bench him the rest of the season. Lock down the award. Zucker plus 32. Jared Spurgeon plus 30. Mikko Koivu plus 25. I think the record is plus 24, 23.
Something like that.
I'd have to look it up. But we got 4 candidates here. I'd say bench all 4 of them. Bury that record.
So unless the top line has like a horrific week, they're looking pretty good.
It's looking good with 4 games left.
Well, maybe this is why Zucker's out. He just wants to put that record on lockdown. He wants to solidify his place.
Yeah, because if Suter loses, drops 1, or drops 2, then he sails home.
Yeah.
To the award, prestigious Keith Carney Award.
Yeah, that's the. I think on my 2 sites ago, on my original blog, I gave out team awards, and one of them was the Keith Carney plus-minus award.
I mean, it'll still be called that even after this season.
Yeah.
Right, well, it should be. I mean, you're not going to rename it to the Ryan Suter Award.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's just silly. Don't do that.
It was 2006-07 season. He had a plus 22, and that is the team record.
Well, Granlin's currently tied for that, so we're looking at 5 solid candidates to blow it out of the water.
The whole top line.
Is Granlin still sitting on 67 points?
Correct. 78 games.
We need 2 points for him today.
Nice. This week. Just haven't finished the week with 2 points.
Anyway. All right. Let's go to the jerseys. That's why the people listen.
Sure.
Not Team USA. Oh, yes, it is. They've got on new uniforms. They're wearing the logo of the Duck. I've never seen this before.
Warren telling you to listen to Midwest Swing, part of the Cold Omaha Podcast Network. Midwest Swing covers the Minnesota Twins and all baseball and is available on coldomaha.com, Libsyn, Stitcher, Google Play, and, of course, on iTunes. That's Midwest Swing, part of the Cold Omaha Podcast Network.
All right. So it's part of the episode every week where we,
talk jerseys,
vent or talk about jerseys, and we have our team of the week who we imagine what they'll look like in the Adidas reboot next season. But we do have some jersey news this week. First of which was I guess I wouldn't say it was totally breaking news, but it looks like the Wild will be going with some sort of home jersey next year based off of what we saw in the Stadium Series, which that's, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed about that, but
I'm surprised that they're doing away with the script Minnesota, because that seemed to be so popular. But then someone on Twitter said, well, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just throwing that logo onto the Stadium Series jersey template, which, is kind of 6 in one, half dozen in the other, I guess. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to me. I mean, we all knew they were going green, obviously. That was welcomed by everyone. But it'll be interesting to see if they do go with just the team logo on the jersey, or if they do keep the Minnesota script around and just kind of slap that onto a slightly different green jersey, which... depending on how you do it, I don't know that it would look great slapped on the Stadium Series jersey, but who knows? I mean, it's going to be an interesting, obviously, an interesting development.
I don't get why they don't just modernize.
There you go.
That's the word I'm looking for. I don't get why they wouldn't modernize the green alternates right now and just keep with those. They are clearly universally loved by Wild fans.
Right.
I think the only debate would be between them and the Whites for the best jersey right now. Nobody loves the Reds, and
right now the greens and the white may be the best 2 jerseys in team history. Honestly, they
minus the numbers with the razor blades.
Yeah, bring back the razor blades.
Razor blades forever.
The jagged, scary numbers.
Yes, we need that.
Jagged, scary numbers.
I don't know. Nothing will ever, because I think we kind of talked about it last summer. Nothing ever really looks good with red as the primary color.
Yeah, it can. It just, I don't know. The red jerseys really kind of wore out their welcome, and I think that the original red jerseys, because they came out before the Reebok Edge.
Before Reebok
I think
Edge
those
took
actually
over.
would have.
Those were okay.
Those were better. They were better, and it just as we've said a gazillion times, less piping,
No piping.
which was important. But they were a little bit of a simpler look, just slightly, and I think those would have, they probably still would have wore out their welcome the same way that the current red jerseys have. But yeah, I just think if you just kind of simplify things a little bit on the greens, you would have been good to go. But apparently that's not exactly what they're doing. So
I have reservations about what we'll see because I was kind of mixed on the Stadium Series jersey as a whole.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they do. I thought they seemingly used to do their research on jerseys, but I have doubts now after the Stadium Series.
Well, on the bright side, they won't have 3-foot numbers on the sleeves.
Are you sure?
That's a good point. God, I didn't think
Did they confirm the 3-foot numbers not be?
What if they did do that? God, that would be just awful.
Just tucking your numbers into your pants?
Jewel has to tuck half his numbers into his pants.
Right.
So that, and seemingly the Wild are having a fire sale on jerseys right now in the team store, so that kind of makes me think they might maybe touch up the white jerseys to maybe try and match, but
are they doing sales on the green and the red but not the white?
No, they did white first.
Okay, so that does lead you to believe that they're going to change the whites as well.
Today they tweeted out a big sale again, and the jerseys are part of it. So
sure.
I might have to jump on the Jewel jersey train now.
Friend of the show, Carrie Wood, texted me about that. She told me to go to the Hockey Lodge, and I was like, they have a website, right?
She didn't text you in a panicked state?
She did. She said it was an emergency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at
Classic
NHL Draft, they're unveiling all the new jerseys.
Yep, that was the other thing was right around the draft or at the draft, all the new jerseys are going to be unveiled.
I mean, is it going to be as they draft each player? So
Except
we're
Vegas.
We're going to wait till the
Vegas
third round
is-
for the Wild.
Vegas
That's why we got to go. We got to go on the Saturday.
We got to wait the whole Friday night and then through the second round on Saturday.
Yeah, but Vegas opted to do their own, which makes sense. They're an expansion team. They can kind of do, they can have their own little party.
Well, that's what the Jets did. They drafted with just the NHL logo.
Mark Scheifele in the generic NHL jerseys.
Well, that's where they announced the name.
Right.
The first time.
Yep.
And then the section of Jets fans
Went
nuts.
ballistic.
Lost it.
Yeah.
As you would expect them to, because imagine if they would have came up with some crappy name that wasn't the team that was there before that was really good. If they would have come up with some really generic name maybe for that was too much groupthink and nobody really liked it as much as the name of the team that was there before. What if they did that? That would suck.
And we are pleased to announce our first pick as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
What did he say?
What?
No, it has to be something non-plural. You're not getting the joke here. Never mind.
So that was kind of the other big jersey news out of the week, and then the only other thing we got was the Oilers. It was reported that they are dumping their home blue uniforms in favor of the orange for next season as their home jersey. And by God, what a joke. They're all right as an alternate, but when you're going to wear them 41 times a season, no.
What is the thought process behind that? Even when in the late 90s they switched to navy blue, which was ill-advised, but not the worst.
You're talking about the oil drop?
Cletus kidney stones.
Yeah, the Cletus kidney stones.
Oh, okay.
No, because it was the regular oil. It was like the Oilers were the only. They took Microsoft Paint and they hit fill with navy blue.
Yes.
Even that was not a great idea, but it wasn't that bad. It was still blue. It was still somewhat resembled their classic jerseys. But this orange, I don't know. It's so gimmicky. This feels like something that a team in the mid-90s would do. When everyone was going to black. Now they're like, oh, we need to change things. We need to change the predominant color of our hockey team. No, you're a hockey team with what? 6 Stanley Cups and 40, 50 years of legacy. Like, why are you messing with things
and
now?
They actually have a good team again.
Right.
It's not like
Pacific Division leading Edmonton Oilers.
Like, what are you doing? You don't need to switch to orange to sell jerseys. You have a guy. His name is Connor McDavid.
Yeah, he's good. I heard
he's pretty good. You might want to just focus on selling his jerseys instead of selling jerseys by changing the freaking color.
I don't get it. I'll never get it. But I guess as we saw later in the week that thirds are going to come back maybe after a year, so those might come back. The Wild script Minnesota might come in. Who knows? I guess sky's the limit on how thirds are going to look after this, but I don't know. It's just not a good move by Edmonton.
So you're thinking the Wild are going to have red thirds?
No.
So they'll have a second green?
I hope so.
Perfect.
That would be preferred.
Sign me up.
That might make sense if they go to a Stadium Series style jersey with the initial ones, and then when they bring the thirds back, they basically bring the current thirds back. That would... I mean, that's best case scenario, and we all know that's best case scenarios never happen when it comes to the NHL and branding, but...
With red piping.
Oh, God.
No. That was Reebok. Adidas will be 3 red stripes down the side.
Yes.
Perfect. And Christmas trees?
Yes.
Yeah. The Wolves are bringing them back, apparently. The Wolves are bringing back pine. I actually kind of like it just because it's nostalgic for the KG era, but the Wolves are bringing back pine trees. Let's do it.
Maybe the next Wild third will be out of the gold based on the moon in their logo.
You know, I was thinking about this on the drive over. I wouldn't horrifically mind it if they went to a cream jersey like the Iowa Wild have used as a road jersey. It wouldn't be they could find a way to pull it off. I'm not saying it would look as good as the current whites, because the current whites I think are pretty sharp, but they could, depending on what they do with the Stadium Series jersey template, they could pull off a cream jersey, I feel like.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Okay.
Cream jerseys should not be allowed.
Okay. That's a fair take. I think that there's a way, and I don't think it's going to happen because, like I said, NHL teams branding not a good situation anytime. So, wishful thinking on my part, I guess.
We'll see. Time will tell. And we'll have plenty of more podcasts to dissect the jerseys.
Right.
Yeah.
So the jerseys this week that we're redesigning.
The Yotes.
The Yotes. The weeping puppies of the American Southwest.
Well, they just got new jerseys.
Right.
So I can't imagine they're going to do anything different next year.
They won't.
But it is Arizona, so you might as well try and change it up again just to make another $1. Because
they'll change.
You're not making many dollars.
It's well established how little dollars they're making.
Not when you've got NHL legend Statsu Pronger on your roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think there's a way we get the Robo Coyote back. I just don't. I mean, they wear the jerseys on like a throwback night, and they're fully aware that it's like a good jersey, but they still just can't let go of this whole weeping puppy thing. And the fans are. It's kind of like the Ducks. The Ducks know which logo is better. They're not stupid. You know, they wear it. They made a third jersey out of it, and yet here they are wearing a webbed foot on their jersey like some kind of weird French fetish. I don't understand.
Rest in peace, Mighty Ducks logo.
Maybe we'll talk about them soon and beg and plead for.
I have no hope.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't like against what they used to wear, where it was just a simple of like, I don't know what do you call it, like maroon and just the white trim at home. But then they decided to add like the black
sleeves.
I was not big on that. Not a good look. So maybe they'll change it up again, but I doubt it.
I do too, and I think they will stick with basically just an Adidas version of their current jerseys. So it is what it is. Like,
Just a very minor tweak.
Right. We'll be stuck with not seeing the Robo Coyote for yet another season. But maybe when that team, eventually moves, because Lord knows they're just hated by every government in the state of Arizona, apparently.
Yeah, nobody likes them.
Glendale doesn't want them. Phoenix didn't want them.
I think Phoenix does want them, but they just don't want to pay for them to come back.
Exactly.
Because, billionaires getting public money for their own company is...
Yeah,
Anyway, that's another time. But...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Any thoughts on the Coyotes jerseys?
I am excited to see when they move and get a real city.
Seattle?
A real place to play.
Seattle.
For their fans.
Seattle.
In their future city.
Seattle.
In Seattle.
Yeah.
The Super Coyotes.
That would be awesome. I saw a tweet from somebody that said they should change when they move to Seattle. They should change your name to the Supersonics.
Why not?
Just like that's so cold-blooded.
Epic troll move.
Oh, that would be so cold-blooded.
And they'd sell jerseys.
Yeah, they would.
Fans would be all
Bring
about
back
it.
The green and gold. They'd love it.
I'm going to go home and design a Supersonics hockey jersey now.
I'll buy one. Give me, Datsuk, Ribeiro, Vermette,
Ribeiro,
Boland, and a Pronger, please.
Yeah.
All on the active, not active roster, but they're paying them all this year.
Gross.
Oof. All right. Well, I think we can probably wrap it up there.
Sure, why not?
We touched on just about everything we needed to. Thank you to Tin Whiskers for hosting us this week. We'll be back again next week. So again, come on down and tell them you listen to the show. That would be much appreciated.
And you don't actually have to tell them your opinion of the show. That doesn't.
Just
you don't
tell
need
them
to do
you're here
that
because you heard about them from the show.
Right.
They don't care about your opinion of the show.
They probably don't care about your opinion of soup either. Just throwing that out there.
We got so close. But we'll be back. We'll be back here next week. Thank you to Graeme for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
It took him about half the time to work out speaking in the microphone, but we got him there.
It's all right.
Well, it took you 6 episodes, so I guess I'm a little ahead.
I was going to say half a season, but you're pretty generous.
Yeah, he told me to not listen to old episodes anymore after Ice the Ticks.
Charlie didn't have kind words for me today either.
That's because he's a big shot now.
Yeah, he's big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you can follow us on the Twitters at Giles Farrell, at Ben Remington, at GATG Wild Podcast. Also, you can follow Tin Whiskers on Twitter at Tin Whiskers Brew.
Sure.
They kind of tweet out promos for what they have upcoming, so check them out there. You can find Ben and I writing at zonecoverage.com.
Nailed it.
Which, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I get a lot of ribbing about, and from Russo now.
I know. Russo called us out. What was up with Yeah?
It's,
I don't know if Tom was even aware of that ribbing.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But, yeah. So that's where you can find us all. So, yeah. We'll be back again next week. We're back on a regular schedule now, and we'll have a special playoff preview next week in addition to our regular show. So you'll get bonus podcasts next week.
Yes.
So feel free to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, listen to us on Libsyn, all that fun stuff. So we will talk to you again next week.
Later.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
We are ducks, and ducks fly together.
not resiliency. You're making it sound like we're good. That's all. I'm done.
There is no off-season when it comes to Andy Lucanary Football Machine on the Colo Podcast Network. Stick with us all off-season long as we talk free agency, the draft, OTAs, training camp, and then we're back in the season, baby, available on iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, and ColdOmaha.com/machine.